Hey everyone, as I'm sure you're aware, on Sunday, January 20th, 2019, we're going to have a total lunar eclipse, which is going to be visible over all of North America. And this is an event you're not going to want to miss. And what this video tutorial is going to help you do is to plan out a sequence of photographs using PlanIt for photographers. Hey everyone, this is Mike Shaw, so let's go ahead and get started. So what I have here is the main screen of PlanIt, and it's centered in Minneapolis. What we're going to do is we want to make this shot, let's say, up in Duluth, Minnesota. So to do that, we hit this search, the magnifying glass, which is the search function, and we type in Duluth, L-U-T-H, like so. We search for it, pick the first one. There we are in Duluth, Minnesota. And the aerial lift bridge is actually right in this area, right just here. So we're going to zoom in, and there it is. And what we're going to want to do is we want to add a marker to the lift bridge. And the way we do that is as follows. And we happen to know that the lift bridge is a building. We're going to call it a building. And we're going to say that it has a height of, I believe it's 226 feet in height. And the width, I believe, is 386 feet. So let's see how that works. We're going to say OK. And that looks pretty good. You can now see a blue circle, which encompasses the width of the lift bridge. And as you'll see shortly, you'll also be able to see how to use the height of the bridge itself. So that's fine. And what we want to do now, you can see this sliding tab here. You can use this to zoom in and out. And what I want to do now is I want to switch over to the satellite map option just here. And I think I'm going to want to set up my camera, let's say on the corner of this courtyard right just here. It's a nice sidewalk here, a nice walkway. So we can put our set the camera location. So we're going to want to do that. And now what we want to do is go back to our marker on the lift bridge, and we want to call that our scene location. So what we're going to do here is choose this option. And what we have now is this is our camera location, and this is our scene location. Why do we want to do that? Well, good question. Turns out we can use this viewfinder option just here, the virtual viewfinder, and that tells us what our scene would look like. And lo and behold, here's the lift bridge. So what we've got here, just to be clear, is from this particular location, right just here, at just an arbitrary focal length lens of 14 millimeters. I'll show you how to set that in a minute. Aiming in this direction, we can aim the camera in any way we want. This is due north, east, and south. We're going to aim it at our scene. And if we were standing there with a 14 millimeter lens, this is what we'd see through our viewfinder. So this is our lift bridge. We can, tilt the camera up and down, or let's see, I guess that would be up. This would be down. We can scroll to the left and to the right. And what we want to do now that we've established the aerial lift bridge, is we want to see what effect the solar or the lunar eclipse is going to have on our how we can set that up. So to do that, there's a number of tools. You see these buttons along the top. You can also slide down. There's an ephemeris option, which you can see here. They're all listed here. The two that we're interested in here are the sequence tool, which is this button right here. I'm not going to click on it just yet, and the eclipse tool. What we're going to do is we're going to get the information from the eclipse tool and put it into the sequence tool. Our main planning tool is going to be the sequence tool. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click or tap on the eclipse button like so. And what this is telling us is that we can say what type of eclipse we're interested in. And we have total lunar eclipse here. You can see there's a bunch of different options, all from 2001 to this next 100 years. And for the total lunar eclipse on January 20th, you can see there's a whole bunch of information here along the top row about when the partial phases begin, the full begins, the maximum totality, and so forth. What we want to do is to begin our eclipse sequence at the beginning of the partial phases and end it at the end of the partial phases. So you can see we want to start at 9:34 p.m. at this location and end at 12:51 a.m. Now the easiest way to do this is we're going to long press on that time, and we want to choose in doing so we can set the time to that. So now we've set our date and time to 9:34 p.m. on January 20th, 2019. So that's great. That's what we wanted to do. You can tap on these to scroll through your few different menus. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our our moon sequence tool, and we want to set that to be the beginning, the start of the sequence. Now we could type in this time, but you see these little blue up and down carrots. You can just tap on that and say use the current time as the starting time. How easy is that? So what we've done, to be clear, is we've set the beginning of our moon sequence photography to be 9:34 p.m., which is the beginning of the partial lunar eclipse. We go back to the eclipse tool, and we say, okay, well, let's set we want to end it at the end of the partial phases, so we long press on that. Set the time to that. So I've set our time to 12:51 a.m. on Monday. We go back to the moon sequence, and we want to end the sequence then. So we're starting it at 9:34 p.m. on Sunday night, and we're ending it at 12:51 p.m. And look at this. You can see in the virtual viewfinder exactly where the moon would be from our starting camera location. So in other words, if we hit this play button right just here, you're going to see the moon start here and scroll across here. So let's do that now. I mean, how great is this? You can actually see where the moon would be relative to the aerial lift bridge. And you can see we'll just let it go along here to the very end, and then it's going to stop. You can see the time down here too as it scrolls along through the time. And that's great. Okay, but that's not really such the photograph that I think I'm going to be looking for. So what we can do now, I mean, how great is this really, is we can go back to our map and say, you know what, I think I want to try a different spot. Let's imagine we go zoom in over here. We used to live in Duluth, so I'm kind of familiar with this area. This is a nice little spot right here. And at the end of January in Duluth, it's all going to be covered with snow and ice, but hopefully this walkway might be clear. And if we set our camera location to this spot instead of the spot before, now we're on a slightly different angle of the lift bridge. You can see it kind of as a sharper angle. And when we go back to our virtual viewfinder, you can see that now the moon track, I think you can see the moon track is more directly over the lift bridge. Now bear in mind that this width is the diameter of the circle that we had for the markers, and the actual lift bridge is going to be more of at an angle here, but I think you get the general idea. Now you can say to yourself, well, suppose we wanted to use a different focal length lens, and that's probably not going to be such a great thing here. This is a 24 millimeter lens. You can see we're much more zoomed in more tightly. We could go to a portrait orientation, and this might be something that you would find to be of value. But that's the value of this tool, is you can try these things out ahead of time, as opposed to getting halfway through a sequence and suddenly realizing that you want to shift camera locations and or lenses. So maybe you want to do a portrait orientation like so, and then you could see how the moon, you might want to stop it, let's say, right just here. That's not quite in, let's go back to the eclipse tool for a second. The full begins at 10:40. So anytime between 10:41, the maximum eclipse is 11. Okay, so actually this is, the maximum eclipse is 11:12, maximum totality is 11:12 p.m. Right now we're at 11:03 p.m. So when we go back to our sequence, you can see that the moon right now is right about here, and that's right directly over the lift bridge. So that would be actually quite a nice shot, 14 millimeters. 14 millimeters at this location. And let me get rid of that green fan for a second. So we're at this location next to at the northeast end of the lift bridge. So that's it. It's really what I wanted to show you guys in terms of planning using the PlanIt for Photographers tool. Until next time, this is Mike Shaw saying good luck with your planning, and look forward to seeing what you get. Take care.